Hey guys, a very exciting day today because we're here with the all-new Mini Countryman, specifically the JCW, although today we will also be driving the SE, the fully electric Countryman. So why is it so exciting, you're asking? Maybe with a at the end of that. Well, let me tell you why. This thing is not only cheaper than it was before, this top of the range JCW will set you back 74 grand, which is actually $2,000 cheaper than before. But more importantly, it's bigger, it's more practical, and the interior is so much nicer. In fact, it's a complete overhaul of the previous Countryman that was definitely starting to feel its age. This is phenomenally good, and I can't wait to share it with you today. So today I'm going to take you for a full exterior tour, all of the crazy quirks and features that this thing comes with, including personalized lights. That's a thing. We're going to check out the interior and practicality, of course. Then we're going to launch the JCW and give this thing lots of sauce across some relatively scary areas. And not only will we drive the JCW, but we're also going to be driving the SE. So I'll give you my thoughts on that one too. The fully electric Countryman. And then I'm going to end on my final thoughts. Should you buy a Mini Countryman? Let's get into it. Alrighty, let's talk about the exterior, but start with pricing. So the whole Countryman range starts off with the Countryman C. That's the petrol version of this, and that starts at $49,990 before on-road costs for the core. Then there is a huge range in between. It goes C, then S, which is a bit sportier, and then it goes JCW, which is even sportier, and then there's the E, the electric. So it might start at $49,990, but this one here, the JCW Favored, which is top of the range in the JCW range, that's $64,000 before on-road costs. And all of that tops out at $77,990 if you want to go for the Mini Countryman JCW Sport SE. That's a lot of words. But anyway, that might be a confusing amount of range, but the fact that there is such a wide range means that a lot of people can just get into the C core, the base model, and you're still getting a Mini, right? So this thing has grown in every way. It's now 60 millimeters taller, 130 millimeters longer, and it's a little bit wider as well. And you can tell it's so much bigger than before, because that was one of the biggest complaints, is that even though it was an SUV, it didn't do the SUV thing as well as other SUVs. So now it matches the X1 in size, and you can tell, but I think it looks really, really good. Let's talk about some of the changes. So you've got these headlights here that are very bright LEDs. You can also change the look of the daytime running lights between 3 different modes, which is pretty awesome. Same with the tail lights, but I'll show you that in a second. You've got the blacked out mini badge there. You've also got a radar here. This thing now comes with level 2 autonomous driving, and I love the fact that the radar actually has like racing stripes on it. Very cool. John Cooper Works badge there, because this is the daddy. This is the daddy that you want and couldn't afford. That's a bit rude. Maybe you can. And then you've got a checkered bumper down the bottom with lots of aero down the side too, red accents. It wouldn't be a Mini without having a chili red roof and chili red mirror caps. So yes, this thing does look, it's very John Cooper Works, and as I said, I really like the looks of it. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you prefer the looks of this or the previous generation Mini Countryman? Let's check out the side. Alrighty, let's talk about the side now of the Countryman, specifically the JCW. So you've got these 20-inch wheels here. They're machine alloyed. They look awesome as well, and pretty big JCW brakes. That's upgraded here for the John Cooper Works, obviously. Again, you have your chili red mirrors here, a 360 camera there, flush door handles, because this does share the platform with the electric Mini, the E, and as a result, you want this to have the lowest drag coefficient for that model, and so this thing is actually quite slippery as well, but not quite as much. You've got really tinted privacy glass here as well. I love this C pillar here. It says John Cooper Works All 4, because this has four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, really. And otherwise, it is a very boxy SUV, but that's a good thing because it really helps with passenger space on the inside and also practicality, which I'll show you in a second. Let's check out the bum. Alrighty, let's talk about the bum on this thing, because frankly, it's my favorite angle. I love the way it looks. Let's talk about some of the cool things. So with the tail lights here, you can see they've got like individual pixels almost, but you can change the way that it looks. Again, as I said, between those 3 modes, there's favored if you want that favored look, I guess. There's also a JCW mode, or there's the standard, which is the Union Jack. So yes, that's really cool. I love the personalization of that. You've got the Mini badge here blacked out, which is hard to see on this paint. You've also got Countryman spelt out there very proudly with the John Cooper Works badge there too. That's also been updated. Down the bottom, you have a big bumper and quad exhaust, but this is a little strange. So it doesn't sound that great. You'll hear it in a second on the outside, but on the inside, it sounds amazing. They've actually added fake cracks and pops to the inside of the car, which I'll be honest, it fooled me, and you'll see that later in the video. But yeah, we've figured out that it's not quite that. So take a listen. And now this is the same sound, but on the inside. Alrighty, mummies and daddies, let's talk about what you can fit inside of the bum on 3. 1, 2, 3. Powered tailgate. It's unfortunate that Daddy Jacob isn't here, but let's be honest, he wouldn't thrive in Portugal like me. So the boot space, it's up by about 10%. So now you get 505 litres of boot space, which is pretty exciting. It's actually quite a lot more. You've also got heaps of underfloor storage as well. You can drop the rear seats and then you get something stupid like 1,500 or something litres of boot space. It is very, very practical, especially considering that the previous one was not the best. All right, let's check out the interior. Alrighty guys, let's talk about the interior now of the Mini Countryman, because frankly, this is where you're going to notice most of the changes because it is so dramatically different to before. If you guys live under a rock, you wouldn't know that Mini are really trying to go for that sustainability edge, and so they're using more sustainable materials. Apparently, the interior is about 98% more sustainable. So let's just say, if you're a moose, don't worry, you've got greenery around you. If you do touch around though, it is a bit scratchy in some places, but this knitted dashboard does feel quite funky indeed. And that's actually around a lot of the places, and it is functional. It's meant to make you feel more calm, perhaps more sensual, but also it helps to soak up a bit of road noise. So this car is still quite quiet despite not being a full-blown luxury car. It is still premium. It might not be the leather that you got before, but I'm not really missing it, especially because the design is just so much better. This steering wheel here, which by the way isn't real leather because they don't do that anymore. Well, it does feel fantastic in the hands, like really, really good. It's got a very aggressive shape to it, so it won't be for everyone, but I have loved driving with it. Also like the little tassel thing you get right there. Little John Cooper Works badge on this one. Up in front of you, you are greeted by an eye monitoring system, but don't worry. It's actually not intrusive at all, and in fact, it hasn't beeped at me once, and the systems are on, so that is good. There are some other annoying beeps and bongs, but we'll come back to that in the driving section. The biggest change by far is this display here. It's 240 millimeters in diameter, which is about 12 inches, but it's completely circle, which is very Mini of Mini to make this, and most of the time, it's very good, I would say. I hesitated there because sometimes it does lag. I have noticed that, which is a bit of a shame for, you know, an all new display, but it's got a lot of functionality, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You've got a dog and you can ask it to do things, but I'm not going to do it because it's a little bit slow. Also, when you change your drive modes, it completely changes the theme and the ambient lighting. So for example, let's go into sport mode, go-kart mode, sorry. Listen to this. You got a man yelling at you. He's having a great time, and you get these really cool dials here, and that changes for everything. So there's green mode, there's vivid mode, there's timeless mode, which actually also changes the engine. Thank you for that. It actually changes the engine sound that's pumped into the interior to make it feel like an original Mini Cooper. It's just got some really, really cool stuff to it that I have loved. And even though the speedometer is now up here in the center, just like the original, that really throws you off. Just like the original Mini, it's okay because you do have a heads-up display that works with polarized glasses, so you see it all the time, and it is way better than before because it's essentially your digital instrument cluster, so I'm really happy with that. Here you've got some very Mini buttons. I love the start-stop button. Also your experiences here, which are your driving modes. Sorry, just give it a moment. There we go. They're not metal anymore, which is a bit of a shame, but they were chrome, and the deletion of chrome is for those emissions style things. Storage is fantastic. Wireless charger here. Another phone storage area there. A couple of cup holders. This little, like, I don't know, floating center console thing. Very cool. Here you got some more storage, 2 USB-C ports. This center armrest feels like a bit of a missed opportunity. It does slide, which is nice, but it doesn't actually open, even though it definitely feels dense enough to be able to do so. The glove box is a pretty massive size, and then you have these seats, which look phenomenal. They're so good. Again, you got that faux leather and the knitting up here. It does actually feel quite good. I'm loving the giant panoramic sunroof as well. The door handles are really funky. You get a Harman Kardon sound system, and really all of that builds up to just a very, very new, different, unique experience. This does not feel like any other car on the inside, and Mini have really owned that design language, and they've done a fantastic job. But let me know what you guys think. What do you think of the interior, especially moving away from those more luxury materials like leather in favor of sustainability? And don't forget, guys, we can help you buy one of these bad boys or any new car. All you have to do, that was weird. Oh, shut up. All you have to do is head to carssource.com/buy. We are partnered with Motorscout, who are Australia's leading car buying service. Not only do we have thousands of dealers that we work with, we make them literally fight each other to get you the best price. We take a fixed commission no matter what you buy, no matter what price you pay. So we are on your side. So make sure you head to carssource.com/buy if you want to buy one of these or anything else. It is worth it. Trust me. Let's check out the back seats. Alrighty guys, let's talk about the back seats. What's it like? Well, just like the BMW X2 we recently reviewed, and I'll link that down below, this armrest here is just sticking out. So I don't like that, but anyway, the space in here is a lot better because it does have a longer wheelbase. I'm 5'11". I've actually got heaps of legroom. Toe room is fantastic too, and headroom as well is really good, despite having a massive panoramic sunroof there. You do get a couple of air vents, but you can't actually change the direction, which is very strange. You do have 2 USB-C ports though, some map pockets there. These faux leather seats, they actually feel really nice. Like, they would definitely fool you. You would think they're real leather. And if you pull this down, you get a nice soft center armrest with a couple of cup holders. So for those who wanted more space in the back of the Countryman, and that was really one of the biggest complaints of the previous Countryman, you've got it. There's heaps of space back here. It is very impressive. All right, let's launch it. Alrighty, mummies and daddies, it's time to launch the, I don't know where I'm looking anymore. The Mini Countryman JCWs, okay? So we're gonna put the car into its go-kart mode. Oh, activate go-kart. Yeah. That wasn't me yelling, by the way. That was just an enthusiastic voice actor. We have our specialist timing gear. We are in Daddy Portugal, and we're just gonna launch control this thing. So I believe all we need to do is snap the brake, snap the accelerator, and off we go. We launch this bad boy. All right, so brake boost it, accelerate. Here we go. Ooh. 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 Not quite as good as I had hoped, but that's okay, daddies. We kind of spun the wheels a little bit, which I didn't get in the BMW X2 M35i. Still fast, they're at 105.7 seconds, but a little bit off their claim. And to be honest, that feels like it can be backed up because it doesn't feel quite as quick as the X2 M35i, despite having, well, the same powertrain. Alrighty, mummies and daddies, let's talk about how this thing now drives on the freeway. Because honestly, it has very impressive new autonomous driving features. It's also got a very annoying speed warning. Here, take a listen to this, go down. Oh, let me speed a little bit. Oh, well, it's not doing it now. But anyway, it does do it. Weirdly, not quite as bad as the BMW X2. But anyway, oh, there you go. Let's press this, and now we are in our autonomous driving mode. It's really, really good. You can take your hands off the steering wheel, wouldn't recommend this, and it will essentially steer itself. It is now wanting me to put my hands back on there, but it's so impressive. It's also really comfortable. So at higher speeds, when you're in like core mode, for example, it is just more comfortable. And this thing has overtaking power for days. Let's put on boost mode. It's really impressive. Listen to this. Oh, it sounds so good. And at highway speeds, at faster speeds here, it's really impressive. It handles so well, feels really planted. And I think you can attribute that to the fact that it's a bigger car overall now. It's just got a longer wheelbase, so it doesn't feel quite as go-karty overall, but still very go-karty. That's pretty go-karty. Alrighty, mummies and daddies, driving the Mini John Cooper Works Countryman. Oh, this thing is unbelievably good. It's so much fun and frankly, better than before, quite significantly. Now I'm gonna put the car very quickly from go-kart back into core mode, slackens off the dampers, makes it a, slackens off the dampers, makes it a little bit more comfy-wumpy. But really for me, the biggest change by far is just this interior experience. There is no doubt it feels so much better than before. It doesn't feel cramped, it actually feels really large and open, which kind of goes against everything Mini was. I'm stuck in Portugal traffic. You bastards. There's another thing as well, the dual clutch. This thing has a 7-speed dual clutch and it can do some of that, you know, jerkiness. Although for a dual clutch, it is actually really good. But yes, it's the whole presence of being in the car. It's so different and so unique. And this display, people really just push in for no reason. And this display is just the piece à la resistance dense. I probably said that wrong, didn't I? But it is so good. It's an OLED display. It just, wow. Wow, wow, wow. And it's not too much and it's not too little. It's just got everything you really need. It's a super impressive implementation of an infotainment display. And thankfully, up in front of you, you still get that heads-up display, which I'm very grateful for. It doesn't look great on this GoPro here because it's actually the further back, the bigger the image. But anyway, it's fine. Like, it's actually very good. While I'm stuck behind a few cars, perhaps I should tell you what's under the bonnet. And here in Europe, unfortunately, it puts out a little less power because it's got a PPF.
A little PP.
So this one here puts out 221 kilowatt of power, 400 newton meters of torque from a 2-litre turbocharged petrol engine. In Australia though, don't worry mummies and daddies, we get the better one. So I don't think we have that little PPF, and therefore we get a bit more power. Oh, maybe this will mean I'm not stuck behind some stupid slow cars anymore. Time to go back into sport mode or go-kart mode. No. Boost mode. Activated boost mode. Oh. Oh, wonder if we can hear it here. Oh, did you hear that whistle? Oh, I lost my train of thought. What the frick was I talking about? And now I wish I didn't come this way because I'm in very small streets. This is Europe, you know? Driving Europe is hard. Oh, so yes, we get the higher output of the engine with the same amount of torque, 400 newton meters, and it does just feel so good. It's such a good engine, this B48, and way better than before. The tuning is very, very different. You see, it's still got the xDrive system, aka all-wheel drive, which is a front-wheel drive biased all-wheel drive. It sends 50% of power to the rear when it needs to. But it had this weird thing before where it was actually very front-wheel drive biased, and you could really feel when it sent power to the back wheels. It never felt cohesive. Certainly didn't feel as good as like the Volkswagen Haldex system that they use. But now I'm happy to say it just acts so much better. Oh my God, there's a tunnel. Come on, dads. Oh, handling as well is unbelievably good. Oh, I've got to put up all these windows now. It seriously keeps its go-kart handling prowess. Oh, it's fantastic. And that was one of the biggest things that I was worried about personally when they moved to this much larger Countryman, is that it would just lose a lot of that dynamic. Wouldn't that just suck? But I'm so happy to announce it hasn't. It just really hasn't. It's darty. It's so darty. Where you point it, this thing goes. And actually, in that sense, it feels even better than the BMW X2 M35i that I also drove. It just feels sharper, a bit dartier, which is exactly what they were going for. That's why this mode is called bloody go-kart. By the way, yes, there are other modes, and yes, they're all a little strange, and they can change the sound design. So for example, there's Timeless, which looks the coolest to me. Listen. And then it pumps in like an old school mini sound. Hear that? It's subtle, but it's different because it does pump in fake engine noise. Ride comfort as well has been another thing I have noticed. It feels actually far more comfortable than its twin under the skin, really, the BMW X2 M35i. The reason I keep referring back to that, by the way, is because I've also driven that as part of this launch event here in Portugal. So I've driven them back to back, and you can just tell. And I love this boost. Oh, wow. It's when it's loudest as well, listen. Oh, it sounds so good, so good. Very fruity indeed. I don't know, guys, the fact that it's now cheaper than it was before, and it's just so much better in every way. The experience is just better. It's more practical. I struggle to see why you wouldn't want one of these. And in a way, BMW have really shot themselves in the foot because this thing is a lot cheaper than the X2 M35i, and to be honest, it provides almost the same, if not in some instances, a better experience. Very interesting. Okay, now let's drive the Mini Countryman SE and see what the fully electric Mini Countryman is like. Alrighty guys, let's quickly talk about the way that the Countryman SE drives, the fully electric Countryman. It's the first time we've seen it. So powering the Countryman SE All 4 is two dual motors. Well, one at the front, one at the rear. Puts out 230 kilowatt of power and 494 newton meters of torque. And that should mean that this will do 0 to 100 in about 5.7 seconds. very similar to what we got really in the JCW. And yes, this thing does have quite a substantial amount of power underfoot. My favorite thing though is when you change between the driving modes. So let's put it into go-kart mode. Come on, daddy. Listen to this. You hear how it's like almost crackling and popping? You hear that? So it's got different sound design depending on what mode you're in, and I love that. The thing you do notice though, especially when you compare this to the JCW we just drove, is that because it's about 400 kilos heavier, you definitely experience some, I guess, more body roll than you would in something like the JCW. Is that very surprising? No, especially because that's a JCW, but you turn a corner and yeah, you do feel it, but it does have incredibly precise, direct steering because they've really tried to keep that go-kart feeling. So again, when you compare it to the equivalent X2, the iX2 xDrive 30, it's actually very, very similar, but you just get that really nice interior package and a lower price. So really, I'm quite impressed with the new Countryman SE. Let's get into our final thoughts. Alrighty guys, final thoughts on the all-new Mini Countryman. I think it is a major, major step up from before. And frankly, considering the price drops as well, it's like a no-brainer to me. I think that this is one of the best premium SUVs you can get. And considering it shares the same underpinnings as the all-new BMW X1 and X2, both of which are more expensive, I don't know, you'd be kind of crazy not to get this. But let me know what you guys think about this whole car. What do you think about the way it drives, the interior? It's so wild to me, but I'm curious to know if you like it as much as I do. Let me know down in the comment section just below that like button. And don't forget, we can help you buy this car or any car with carsource.com/buy. Ciao for now.